Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Julie and today we have a super special guest with us. You all know Kelly. Kelly is the eyes and ears behind Julie Khuu Interior Design. She is my editor, she's my project manager. She has been with us for, gosh, so long now. And the last time you saw Kelly on the channel, we revamped her primary bedroom. Kelly has now moved into her own home, like a full-blown house. It's beautiful, it's huge, it's a lot more space than she's used to. So today we'll be talking about how to elevate your home using the things that you already have on a budget. Kelly and her husband just moved into this new home. They were working with just a 1-bedroom and 1 bathroom before, and now how many bedrooms do you have?
It has 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms.
So it's a 5-bedroom home that needs to be completely furnished from the ground up. I mean, tell us a little bit about what you did to the house in terms of renovations before you moved in.
We knocked down one of the walls in the kitchen so it can be an open floor plan and fully renovated the whole kitchen. New flooring, we painted the walls, new cabinets, we renovated some of the bathrooms.
And bought, pretty much all new furniture for the space.
Yes.
Okay, so I have never seen Kelly's home. I don't know what it looks like. I did give her some guidance in terms of structural renovations, remodeling the kitchen, but as far as finishing the space or furnishing the space, I have yet to see it. This is going to be a first look for me as well, and I would love to offer you my designer tips on how you can elevate the space using the things that you already have on a budget, and maybe help guide you with those mini moves that you can make that will provide a major impact. So let's take a look.
So today we're discussing the living room. I have furnished the whole living room. So we have a sectional and we have all the key furniture that we need, but there's a lot of bare walls and I want to see what I can do to make it cozier. Right now the space is like this because we've been watching movies, so we want it to be cozy. Usually the ottoman is on the right side and we'll have the coffee table in the middle and then 2 smaller ottomans on the other side.
So what we're looking at is the living room. The living room is pretty much the first common area that you enter upon landing into the home. A lot of homes are typical in this way where you open the front entry door, maybe you have a tiny little hallway, a really small foyer, and then you walk into a huge living room. Most people don't know how to demarcate space. They don't know how to kind of carve out an entry, but I see that you kind of already have an entry landing space here. So it gives you a minute before you walk into this huge open space. I think this is really common where homeowners have the hero pieces in place. You have a big sofa, a big sectional, you've got a TV console, you have a television, you have some storage, some organization areas, and your window treatments are fully installed. So to me, this feels like a fully furnished room. We're not looking for any furniture pieces per se, but you're looking for key designer tips on how to restyle it in a way where it's a little bit more elevated, it's a little bit more enhanced, it feels a little bit more luxurious, maybe a little cozier, and add some color, life, and personality to the space.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of viewers who are watching this episode can absolutely relate. You have all of the major players in place. Like, what can you do to the walls? What can you do to your furniture? What can you do in terms of accessories that is really going to provide impact? And for me, the first thing I do when I look at a space is, number one, is the furniture laid out correctly? Do you have a focal point? In this case, your focal point is clearly the television.
Yes.
You have this really beautiful console underneath the television, but it's a little bit messy. Maybe you need to corral some of your remote controls, some of your little tchotchke items. The best way to do that is with storage boxes that you can hide in plain sight, and maybe even with a really beautiful tray that you could set right on your coffee table. Kelly, how high are your ceilings in the home?
I think it's 8 feet.
So a typical 8 feet, 96-inch ceiling, which is very typical, common in Southern California, especially in suburban homes. So your television pretty much fills up the entire height of that focal wall, which is great because, number one, you don't have to dress the areas above it, but there is some blank space to the side of the television. If you have a large television and a console anchoring the focal wall of your living space, a lot of the times you don't need to address the bare empty walls beside it at all. I feel as though you always need a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of negative space. Having that negative space behind such a huge statement piece allows the room to breathe. You're not suffocating the walls by adding more things to it because visually you feel as though it's blank space. To me, that blank space allows the viewer and the guest and the user of the space to be pulled back into the middle of the room instead of on the perimeter of the space. That's not important to me. It's all about the seating area and how do you make that cozy. So that segues us back into the main living area. You have this really beautiful large area rug that anchors the entire sectional. Kudos to you, Kel. I know you've been paying attention. Typically, the front legs of all of your furniture in a living room should be anchored right over the area rug. If it's not, the area rug is way too small. And if it is, that's visually going to expand your eyes and make the room look even larger.
I want to know how I can make the space warmer because there's a lot of grays in here. Like the console's gray, the sectional is gray, the rug has shades of gray, so I want to know what can make it warmer.
You want to know how you can warm up the space with a very neutral palette. I love that you have a neutral background because then it will allow you to layer on colors, switch it out seasonally without having to invest a whole lot of money. One of the first things I notice is that you lack artwork on the walls.
Yes.
Now, is it because you haven't found the art piece that you love? You don't know where to shop? Nothing's been inspiring you? What is your biggest challenge when it comes to sourcing artwork?
I want to choose a piece that I love, and I'm okay even DIYing the pieces, but I just don't know what to put up, especially in that blank wall. I don't know how to fill the space.
You have this really huge opportunity to add really colorful artwork on the wall that's adjacent to the television. We've got this blank white space. I can see that you kind of just put some filler pieces up on the wall right now, but it's such a huge, massive wall that can really benefit from some life and some color. My suggestion would be to, number one, measure the wall, the length and the width of the space above the console to see how much room you have to play with. So you could opt to do 3-paneled artwork, which is 3 pieces that are completely symmetrical to fill up the space. You could put one huge statement piece, but a lot of the times that could be very costly unless you DIY it. You could do a small gallery wall. There are so many different ways for you to address this wall and to add some color in. Those colors would then be used to inspire the color palette for the entire remainder of the space. You could change out the throw pillows, you can add strategic throws, you could add even some home decor and accessories in that color palette that would make the whole space look designed. What do you think would work best in terms of what you're looking for?
I like the idea of the 3-paneled artwork. I think it'll look really clean and it'll fill up the space a lot too.
So if you had a 3-paneled artwork, is that something that you're willing to kind of invest in yourself, or are you going to DIY it? Because if you do go that DIY option, remember that what we're trying to do is bring in color.
Yeah.
So whatever that triptych will be, it needs to have a whole ton of color so you could use those colors to inspire the rest of your design. My second question to you is, I see a lot of warm, kind of rust-colored hues in the space. I mean, you're wearing the color of your living room. So is that the colors that you vibe with the most?
I think it is for the living room, but I'm scared that I'm going to want to change it in the future.
Well, the best thing about it is that you only have color in terms of throw pillows and blankets in there for now.
Yeah.
So a pillow, you can really DIY and sew yourself. You can go out and purchase pillow covers for very inexpensive, maybe less than $20 a pillow. So for $100 to $200, you can really revamp the entire look of your space without spending a whole lot of money. Let's talk about this sliding door passage. This looks like passage that goes directly out to your backyard. I love that you've hung your drapery up high. You know, that drapery rod is hung just maybe a couple of inches below the ceiling. And you will know from my channel that that is a key designer's tip to kind of enlarge the space, to visually expand the height of the ceiling, and to kind of make everything look taller, leaner, larger, which is what everyone loves. So I love that you've chosen a very neutral window treatment. This is something that you can also swap out. You could purchase pre-made fabric panels, drapery panels, curtains, and they could be lined, unlined, blackout, especially if you're using the space almost as like a media room, or you Netflix and chill, you want everything to be blacked out. I think IKEA is such an amazing resource for really inexpensive curtain panels with all sorts of different fabric options and color options. So that's also another way for you to add in color here. there. You might have been afraid to go with a really bold color, but remember that curtain panels could be like $20 a panel, and you probably need 2 or 4 panels at most, less than $100 for you to spend on this window wall that would completely change the look of the entire space.
I was afraid to do color on the walls, but now that you say that, it's not anything permanent. So.
Exactly. You know, it's such a really quick fix, and there's only so many panels that you need to address that are already fully made. So just make sure that you shop with key measurements in hand. 96-inch panels are really common, and that's something that's already prefabricated. So I would mess around with that. One of the other things that I noticed specifically on this wall is kind of one of my pet peeves. You have this really beautiful view. You've got all of this natural light that's filtering through these window walls. I think a missed opportunity here was to expand your drapery rod so they go a little bit further than your sliding door opening so that you could stack the panels once they're fully open. What you will gain is full view of what's happening outside. It makes that wall seem larger. It allows you to fully stack your panels without obstructing the view. And at the same time, you don't have to address that negative space and the blank space that's right beside it. Because to me, this looks just a tiny bit cluttered. I know it's a really common condition. You're looking around your house and you're like, hey, I have an empty corner right here. Like, can I buy a plant to fill it up? Maybe I can put a console here and a really beautiful piece of art on top. But I really want you to think about that breathing room, that negative space. Address instead what the focus of that elevation is. That focus of that elevation to me is the view, the pathway out into your beautiful backyard. You want to invite the user to kind of use that path and look beyond what's happening on the interior and allow your space to kind of grow. So by moving the plant just a little bit inward, maybe next to your television, you will not only create more breathing room on that wall, but you'll also naturally add another focal point right beside the television console, so it's not just a big huge black box. On the left side of your window treatments, you have a little, what is that, like water. A storage console? Oh, that's water. I would probably move that to the other side of the kitchen because it makes a little bit more sense. You won't block the path of the sliding doors. And again, it will just really open up that elevation, and there's not much to it instead of these really beautiful window treatments. I mean, I'm hoping that you're still going to get a lot of natural light that filters through, and then your plant has that light. Because right in the corner right now, it just feels like, it feels suffocated.
It's a fake plant.
Oh, you need to say that louder. Kelly just said it was a fake plant, okay? But even if you have that situation where you don't have a green thumb, you're looking just to add a little bit more life into the space, a little bit more greenery, then that's a non-issue. You don't need to put it beside your light source, right? Which is great. So that's what I would say. I would kind of, because all of a sudden this water cooler, which is just functional, you know, becomes a focal point in a space where it's all about the aesthetic. So I really want you to think about that.
So my intent was to have the drapery panels go past the windows, but I told the contractor and he did not do that. So
you've done enough installations with me at this point where you know how to install these brackets and drapery panels yourself. So I get it. I mean, contractors, if you're kind of not on them on the daily, they miss some details, and that's very, very common. So that's something that you can kind of just move and jimmy to the right. We'll do another video where I show you how to patch up holes. I do it all the time. I mean, we change our minds all the time. So that's something that you can definitely benefit from. Kel, let's talk about the lighting. I mean, what's going on here?
The recessed lighting was already installed and they did it themselves, so there's just a ton of light. There's about maybe 16 recessed lights on the ceiling. So 16
recessed lights in a 15 by 10 foot space ish?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's overkill. To me, when you have general lighting that's coming from above, number one, always place it on dimmers so you have maximum control of light. You can dim it as you need to, but the thing about general recessed cans is that it's not very moody. You don't really get that kind of ambiance that you would from table lamps or floor lamps or even wall sconces that are kind of hung at eye level.
Right now I have a lamp in the corner of the room and also on the other side just to balance it out because I like the moody look and I usually don't use the recessed lights unless we're cleaning or something.
Typically, that's what recessed lighting is for. I mean, people only use it as general task lighting, but on the daily, you know, it could be an eyesore, especially when you have bulbs in there that mimic natural daylight. To me, it looks a little bit like 3,500. Is it 3,500K? You don't know?
It was
okay.
already.
It was already in there. I love the idea of adding table lamps and floor lamps, but I think another missed opportunity here is symmetry. A key designer's tip to balance out lighting in a room is to use symmetry. Symmetry simply means the exact same thing on one side as another. It's almost like a mirror image. If you have a table lamp on one side, why don't you just put the exact same table lamp on the other side of that console? Then all of a sudden, you're also creating this secondary focal point for your space.
Okay.
And then you can turn on those two table lamps, and then this beautiful artwork that you're going to install is going to be lit, and you don't have to do anything else. If you want to provide a little bit more ambiance to the space, you could also add two floor lamps that are symmetrical on both sides of the television. I think that's a really good way to anchor that big black box as well. If you love the look of the floor lamps that you've now moved beside your television, you could upgrade it to hardwired wall sconces that are beside your television. I do that all the time. I love this trick. I literally have it in my living room right now. It's on a dimmer. A key designer's tip on how to elevate your space for not a whole lot of money is to add strategic wall lighting. I still owe you a video where I'm showing you how to add lighting to your space without hardwiring at all. So I think that could be a really cool option beside your television. Yeah. What do you think?
I think so too.
Okay, Kelly, so what did you think of my tips?
I really like the idea of filling up that space and adding more lighting, and possibly look at the drapery situation and see what I can do to lengthen the span of that wall.
I think a lot of times you're kind of like bogged down by your daily rituals and your routines. Once you move into a space, you kind of just plop things down. I get it. You know, if there's like a blank white wall, you're like, hey, I could put some, extra seating here, or I could, throw a plant here. But a lot of the times you kind of just have to step back, see it from a new lens, a new perspective, and edit. Editing is really key to elevate your space and make it look a little bit more designer, a little bit more luxurious and high end. Less is sometimes more. I know, coming from me, like super maximalist, I get it. You have to edit before you can start adding things back in. That's it for today's video. I want to give a huge thank you to Kelly for inviting us into her brand new home. Congratulations, Kel. Who votes for a follow-up video to see how Kelly actually implements all of my tips? I hope you all got some really great ideas on how to elevate your space using the things that you already have, especially on a budget. Remember that it's not about spending a whole lot of money. It's usually about purging first, decluttering second, and paying attention to those key focal points and those wow areas in every single home that would make a really huge impact. I would love to hear from you. If you want my key designer tips on how to elevate your space without using a whole lot of money, you can send me your pictures and videos over Instagram, or you can email me using the email in the description box. I would love to hear from you and turn this into a brand new series. I was also really toying with the idea of going live, like getting the viewers to send me in their homes, their rooms, getting my feedback, and maybe chatting with all of the viewers in real time with questions that they have pertaining to each space. Because even though Kelly is showing us her space today, I'm pretty sure while you're watching this, you're thinking, hey, I have that condition, I have that challenge, and you want my input. If that's something that you're interested in, please let me know in the comments below. If you like this type of content and you want more tips when it comes to designing on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with anyone you know who's looking to elevate their space on a budget, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click that little notification bell to be notified of new videos that we drop every single Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.